Got traffic there. Last there, just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see, what we got, a tricycle? Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you quick land on 9 all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here. So just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around.
Yeah, I can follow.
Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are you all doing? Hope you're welcome. Sorry about that little minor technical issue at the beginning. So welcome to this week's live stream, and let's see if we can get to the end without too many more technical issues. What have we got tonight? Well, we got a video from Simon with the weather. Now, we had a comment last week which someone said, does the weatherman not know we can't fly? Yeah, the weatherman knows we can't fly. We're just kind of like interested in the weather. You've got to do something to keep ourselves busy, haven't we, during this little aviation furlough, as it were. We got a whole bunch of news. We got special guest Hamish, who's going to talk to us about the MOL, TDA, ACP, other or acronym. Anyway, basically the whole drone stuff. So long conversation about that. Some not great news about the stuff that's going up there. I am apologising now because I will have a little rant at the end of that. I will prepare it and be polite. It won't take too long, I promise. What else have we got? A whole load of other news. Fantasy Hangar. We've got Glue of Cloud hopefully joining us a bit later for he's going to take the Right Stuff Challenge, and Johnny will be giving you some information about how you can take part in that. So before I go on any more, I think it's time to hand over to the weather. So Simon Keeling, who's not here, but he sent us this video earlier.
Evening all, hope you are well. Sorry I can't be with you live again this evening. I've got to wash my hair again or something like that. But I'll be with you back live with you as larger than life next week, I promise. I hope you've had a good week. Now we'll get on to the forecast in just a second, but I've got a quick question for you. What is the best way of estimating wind speeds? There's this week's question. What's the best way of estimating wind speeds? You've got to the end of the forecast to get it into the chat box and make your comment. What's the best way of estimating wind speeds? And that's surface wind speeds. Okay, on with the forecast. This is how things are looking for Saturday. It's a bit of a chilly weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. Let's get it all out of the way first of all, though Saturday looks like being the better of the days. There'll be some snow showers, I think, across western parts of Scotland on Saturday, courtesy of this trough that you see there. Troughs are basically lines of heavier showers, some embedded cumulonimbs in there as well, some snow showers too if you're watching in Ireland, across the west of Ireland. Most other areas actually are looking pretty good, so I think that we're going to be seeing some reasonable flying conditions central and eastern Scotland, much of northern England, the Midlands, southern parts of England as well. Just watch for perhaps 1 or 2 showers in the far southwest. We're looking at typical bases probably at around 3,000 feet tops, at about 10,000 feet for most, although in those showers western Scotland bases nearer 2,000 feet tops at around 15 to 20,000 feet. Now things change on Sunday. Still quite a bit of uncertainty on this one. See that trough that's coming eastwards through Wales into the Midlands, into southern parts of England? That is a line of showers. It's in cold air and air that's below freezing, so it's going to be bringing with it, we think, an area of sleet and snow. That will track its way eastwards through western parts of England, through Wales, then into the Midlands, probably by late morning, then into eastern England during the afternoon, but weakening all the time. But it has the potential to put down 1 centimetre or 2 of snow. Otherwise, winds are fairly light. It looks pretty reasonable, but it's just that trough going through that causes the problem. So keep a very close eye on the forecast for that one, won't you? Across Ireland, we've got some heavy snow showers to come across the northwest as well. More eastern areas, and probably also through central parts of Scotland, looking pretty flyable. Reasonable conditions, 3,000 foot basis tops at about 12 to 15,000 feet. But as I say, it's this trough that causes us most concern at the moment. Keep your eye on the forecast if you were planning on flying on Sunday. If not, go and have a look at your books now and look at what troughs mean. We cover them at Weather School. Now, talking about Weather School, I asked the question about what's the best method of estimating surface wind speeds. I'm asking that question because at my home airfield, the anemometer's broken at the moment, so they're estimating it via windsocks. But windsocks are not the best way of doing it. The best way of doing it is via the Beaufort Scale. Now, I bang on about this a lot to pilots and say you need to learn the Beaufort Scale. It's learnt heavily in sailing, and that's what they use to estimate wind speeds, but for some reason not in flying. So learn the Beaufort Scale. And what I've done is, at the Weather School website, so this is weatherschool.co.uk, if you come down under freebies here, down the bottom here, I've put estimating wind speeds using the Beaufort Scale, and I've actually added a scale there for you. And you can see there, all you've got to do is look at the description and then you read off what the wind speed actually is. It really is the best method of estimating wind speeds accurately. So go and have a look now, freebies, and down the bottom there is the Beaufort Scale. So if you answered the Beaufort Scale give yourself a brownie point. Well done. And also weatherschool.co.uk is the place to go to book your place at Aviation Weather School. I've got one place remaining on my course on the 6th and the 13th of February on the mornings of those dates. So if you want to come along, do book your place now. Okay. I think I'll leave you with that for now. Have a great weekend, won't you? Wrap up warm if you do manage to get out and go flying. And I will see you next week. Get estimating those wind speeds. Get better at that, ready for when lockdown is lifted. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you next week.
Well,
So,
okay.
so on the Beaufort scale, if you wheel the aeroplane outside and it blows away, I guess that's too windy.
I think hands up here who uses the Beaufort scale to estimate wind.
No.
No.
No, every day's a school day.
I thought Beaufort was a very, very nice cheese from France, but
That's Roquefort.
It's what? Right, okay, moving on from cheese, let's move on to the news. And Dave, I'm going to hand over to you on the news. I'm going to play around and remove a few people here just so we can hopefully sort out some of the problems that we might have in a minute with Echo. So, Dave, talk to us about the news.
Okay, so before we get straight into the news, we've got a bit of sad news, and that's that Terry Case, who is the owner and operator of Farway Common Airfield in Devon, near Exeter, died earlier this month. And I didn't know Terry personally, but from all accounts, he was a great bloke. You can see him here with his Cessna 172. And looking at the pictures, he ran a fantastic airfield. I know that the LAA Devon Strut used to hold lots of events there, and they will be missing him completely. No news at the moment. What's going to happen to the airfield? Let's hope it continues. So, Ed, did you want to say anything about this? Because I know you're in the area.
What the am I talking about the drone thing or? No,
just Terry Case from the Farway Common.
I've been to a few Farway Common fly-ins, and it's a real amazing. Terry, a fantastic aviator, and like you say, ran a fantastic strip, and the fly-ins were really part of the Devon Strut world. So it's a real loss to the aviation community down there.
Okay, right. Let's move on to the hard news, as we say, and we've got a bit of an update on the story we had last week about the application for temporary danger areas around from Oban to Mull to Cole and that sort of western side of Scotland. The only real update is that Skyports, the company that put the air change proposal in, has extended the consultation period to the end of January. So it's 3 weeks long instead of the usual 12 weeks. Now, as you can see, sitting next to me is Hamish Mitchell, who is the owner and operator of Scotia Seaplanes. He's also an ATCO for Scottish Fur, so he's pretty well involved in the area. So Hamish, what are your thoughts about what's going on with these temporary danger areas?
Well,
before you start, just let me remind you, this is a family show.
Accepted. Okay. I think, first of all, the point to make is that I certainly believe the consultation on this has been quite shambolic, to be honest. The airspace change proposal for Mull at the moment, number 99, within that, the applicants or the sponsors have said that they have developed a comprehensive picture of aviation in the area. And the basis for that was a previous drone trial that they did last year in May. Now, I've dug around, I've spent 4 days digging around the CAA airspace change proposal website, looking at all the minutes and everything. They had a 5-day consultation back in May. And on the basis of that 5-day consultation, they're saying that they have an adequate picture of what the airspace use is. The stakeholders that they contacted last year was minimal. It didn't involve any of the flying clubs, it didn't involve the LAA or any of the representative bodies, because it was pushed through on 5 days. So bouncing off the back of that, this proposal equally has got in touch, maybe slightly more people, but it hasn't got in touch with flying clubs at Oban. It hasn't got in touch with any of the flying clubs around the central belt of Scotland who are operating in that area frequently. They haven't got in touch with Loganair, who also operate. They haven't got in touch with myself, Loch Lomond Seaplanes. It's been a very shallow consultation. And it does raise several points. In conjunction with this number 99, there is another one sitting in the background, which would increase the temporary danger airspace right down the west coast to Loch Gilphead. Now, all these areas taken into consideration, these close off what are effectively low-level bad weather routes for everybody. Everybody that tries to go up and down the west coast knows that over the sea you can go down to low level, you can go below 500 feet legally VFR if there's a low cloud base, and their proposals are not taking account of the users in the airspace. If I may point out as well that they put in another proposal which was withdrawn due to they couldn't get agreement with the stakeholder or with the stakeholders. I've actually asked them for a list of the stakeholders in that case because it was running another TDA from Greenock west to Butte, right across from the west of the Scottish TMA, which is a very, very busy area, Prestwick, Glasgow, Loganair, Loch Lomond Seaplanes. And as of yet, they aren't sending me the stakeholder list. Because I think as an interested party, as a stakeholder that wasn't contacted, I think it's on them to tell me what the reason was that it was rejected, if any of that makes sense.
Yes, so what will be the direct effect on you, Hamish, should the TDAs go ahead?
Well, first of all, as it stands, it effectively blocks off 2 kilometre wide passes right up the Sound of Mull, up to 950 feet in some places. And that severely restricts your operations as VFR. I've asked them what procedures would there be in place for entering the TDA, because I believe they have possibly a temporary operating instruction with the air ambulance. Radio coverage is not very good in that area because you're low level below the hills. So anything like that would severely restrict my operation. I mean, I operate from Prestwick. I also go up to Oban, I go to Mull, I base myself in Mull for several days at a time, and we fly around Mull, we fly up to Argyll, over to Ardnamurchan, and these areas are almost like fences. Now, I appreciate they're maybe up to 400 feet in some places, but the weather on the cloud and the orographic cloud, you get low stratus there. And as a seaplane, I can quite happily and legally operate VFR, down to 200, 300 feet. And that can get you past localized weather. And these areas reduce your safety margins, very definitely.
Yeah. So one of the airfields that's going to be affected by this is Glenfalsa, and we had Brendan Walsh on last week. I mean, what do you think about the fact that he might not be able to operate for some of the busiest periods of the year?
I think it's shocking. I think it shows, to be quite honest, at one level, it's an ignorance of other airspace users, and the whole principle should be about the integration of airspace, not the segregation of airspace. There seems to be, having dug around this, and I've discovered that most of the people on the CAA, on the first committee assessment meeting they had, they're all concerned with UAVs, RPAS. None of them have got GA experience. And that does worry me that you don't have a depth of knowledge there to go to the sponsor and say, have you actually contacted the flying clubs? Now, I've been in touch with somebody on NatMac because the drone sponsor was saying that they go by the NatMac list of operators. But word has come back from the CA that the onus is clearly on the drone operators to make a comprehensive understanding of who operates in the area. Now, they say themselves that they operate on what are called the gunning principles. So just out of interest, I printed off the gunning principles on consultation, and it does clearly state, first of all, adequate time is given for consideration and response, and that the product of consultation is conscientious, or is conscientiously conducted. And with all due respect, I don't feel this has been particularly conscientious, not with regard to the current airspace users.
We're running out of time, Hamish, so just a few words. What do you think they should do with this proposal?
To be quite honest, I think it should be thrown out. I mean, I think the disrespect they've shown to the general aviation community tells me we shouldn't negotiate on this. Go back or come back when there is proper detect and avoid abilities with the drones, because at the moment I don't think it's not adequate just to force everybody out of the sky. It's a bit, that sounds a bit strong, forcing everybody out of the sky, but we have to work together on this, and there's been a complete lack of respect towards GA, and I think until they come back and say, look, sorry, we really got this wrong, and we'll work with you, and we don't want to exclude you. Okay?
Right. Thank you very much, Hamish. That was very, very clear what you think. So, just in case you're catching up on this, if you look at the latest issue of Flyer, our cover story is March of the Drones, and it talks all about this. And we've got a piece from Hamish in there and some others as well. So let's move on. The next news story is about Wolverhampton Airport, and this is about Wolverhampton. The owners of Wolverhampton Airport have put forward a proposal to build some housing in the southeast corner. This is track north here. So that's an in-office argument we have. So this is the southeast corner down there. You can see they're building houses. Now, at first glance, it looks like it's not a bad idea. They've built the houses using a not well-used bit of the corner, and they say they're going to use the money raised from building the houses, 112, to refurbish the rest of the airport. Not surprisingly, there's been a mixed bag of objections to this and thoughts about this. Many of the objections are that if you have a load of people move into the airport right next to it who've been sold a nice house, will they really want all that noise and aircraft flying in and out? So there's that worries about the future. There's also things like, how can the airport really have a future if it has to sell off part of its land every now and again to raise money? That's only going to end in one place. And also the local residents are objecting as well, because they don't really need another 112 houses in an area where there's not great facilities at the moment. So that one's going to run for a while. Any thoughts here?
There was someone brought up a really interesting point that they posted on the Flyer forum, and to be, I don't know it myself. I haven't checked the documents myself, but they said they created documents, and there was a clause in there that said that the money would be spent to refurbish the runway and add hangars and stuff like that, as long as the developers met their commercial expectation from the sale of houses. And I think it's a fairly, the Flyer office, when the Flyer offices were built, long before we ever got anywhere near them, the developers apparently built them with a view of putting a bridge across the river. And funnily enough, they got planning permission and everything else, but the bridge never got built because they ran out of money. So I suspect that's not the first time in history, and I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but who knows? I think it's important to just, to remember the people who run the airfield are property developers. That's their business, and airfields are land. So let's hope.
It would be great if it all worked out.
Yeah.
So that would be a win for everybody.
So okay, let's move on to the next item, which is slightly happier. I am aware, Ian, that we've missed out on your rant. So if there's time towards the end of the show, then we'll bring it back in. But the next subject is slightly happier. This is the story of hay bales 1, aeroplane 0. Here it is. Now, amazingly, the pilot walked away from this. This is a Savannah kit-built aircraft, and you see that haystack behind it full of hay bales. Apparently, he hit it on takeoff, and then fell backwards and did the tail in as well. But you can see how the passenger, the cockpit has actually held together, and he walked away from this with just a scratch or two. Yeah, this picture is taken from the AAIB report, which came out earlier this week. Ed, you had some things to say about this.
I'm not sure I do, Dave, but I've got to say that's a lucky escape, and probably as summed up best in the comments by Ben. Who said it? Callum Richards said that'll buff out.
We had a great one from Mark Etherington on Facebook, who said, "I've not verified the authenticity of this, but he said my dad built that, and it didn't look much better than that when he'd finished it."
Oh, harsh.
God. I've been so careful to try and keep us away from that. Right, okay. There is another case, of course, also of the Exeter runway 1, Boeing 737 nil. This is the 737 that made a very hard landing at Exeter runway. We don't have a picture of that. Do we have a picture of that? We don't, unfortunately. Okay, it's in the news. You can see it. So the next story is from my favourite manufacturer, Pipistrel. Am I right? Pipistrel, that's right. And they've started training engineers to look after their electric aircraft, the Pipistrel Velis Electro. And that was what that picture was. It just came on for a fleeting second there. Come on, Ian, stay awake, keep up.
Sorry.
So here we are. The very first training course for engineers who have to maintain electric aircraft. And they're all standing back looking at this battery pack as though it's about to go off, aren't they?
They look like they've never seen one before.
Yes. What's this? It's not a Lycoming.
Anyway.
Or a Rotax.
Yes. What else? Next
story. We have to move on quickly because we're running out of time. Tecnam have produced a special mission version of their P2012. This is the big one, the 11-seater, except they've taken out all the seats and they put a fridge in. Sorry, did that sound like Clarkson? Anyway, they put a fridge in. This is to help the guys at Tecnam bring their lovely food over the rest of Europe. Oh, sorry, no, it's to take vaccines. It's to carry vaccines. That's right, sorry.
So just a quick story on the Tecnam. When Tecnam exhibit in the US, as they quite often do at Sebring, when Sebring existed and stuff like that, Paolo, the godfather, we could call him, of Tecnam, I guess, has a pretty low opinion of American food. It's such a low opinion that I can't repeat the actual words he says. So he ships over, along with their stands, a whole load of Italian pasta and coffee and stuff like that, and just does all of his own cooking for everyone at Tecnam. So I reckon that was just to bring fresh food over and some more mozzarella.
It was just inevitable then.
It was. Yeah. It was going to happen. The fact that coronavirus is coming along is just handy.
Yeah. Right. So finishing up on the news, and I will remind my fellow flyer people to be careful of what they say. This is a story about the pilot who flew his Pilatus PC-12 from Fair Oaks in Surrey up to RAF Valley because he wanted to go to the beach. And this is during lockdown. And he hadn't told people at RAF Valley he was coming. He couldn't contact them. And he just landed. And was a bit surprised when the aircraft was surrounded by RAF military people saying, "What are you doing?" Which is when he said he wanted to go to the beach. So anyway, it's all over the Daily Mail today. What do you think, guys?
He got fined £3,400 or something.
Yes, he got fined a lot of money. Let's just have a quick look. He got fined £3,400, and the CAA turned him over really. And
you'd like to think that someone who operates who's type rated to operate a turbine would be smarter than that.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder how someone got to that point in their aviation career and didn't realise that flying to an airfield, not talking to anyone landing, particularly a military airfield, was kind of just not really. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I wonder whether there's something else going on, whether a different story here or not. I don't know.
No. I think we can just end it by saying he's a plonker. Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Now we need Ian's rant.
Yes, I need my rant here. Okay, so here's the rant, and I'm going to have to look down at the screen and read part of this out. This rant comes because I was this last week been doing a whole load of work on the drones. Everyone on the team has been working really hard to put this feature together. So I was looking at the Skyport page, and I was a little bit shocked. And I'm going to read this. It says this is written from an article out of Skyports, who are organising the temporary danger area or applying for the temporary danger area up around Mull and Oban. It says now the CAA has taken a big step towards the integration of manned and unmanned aviation by announcing the creation of Unmanned Aerial System geozones. These zones will allow drone delivery service providers to execute BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight, missions that are in the public interest. The zones will also ensure the safety of all airspace stakeholders by mandating that aircraft requiring access to the geozone be equipped with a predefined means of electronic conspicuity. I'll come back to that in a minute. And then it says to set up a geozone, the following conditions need to be met by the airspace sponsor. In this case, we're talking Sky Sports. One, and this is my bold, the sponsor needs to set up the required level of equipage, e.g. ADS-B, and to enter the zone and to define the conditions of entry. So hang on a minute. The CAA have announced geozones. I don't remember that announcement. Who remembers that announcement? Who remembers that it was got mandatory equipage to get into them? Who remembers that it's down to the sponsor to decide who comes in and who doesn't come? What is that all about? Come on, CAA, what are you playing at? Are you getting this in on the quiet? Are we not supposed to know about this? And all of a sudden you announce it through Sky Sports. So Sky Sports your new PR agency?
Skyport.
Are you sure it's not Sky Sports?
No, Sky Sports is a completely different thing.
I got a message from Rupert Murdoch's. No, yes. Anyway, the basic ridiculousness of this is this whole new category of airspace or something I'd never heard of. All of a sudden, it's apparently announced by the CAA that I haven't seen announced by the CAA. There's all sorts of what's going on. It's just bonkers. It's mad. What are they doing? Where does that come from?
I know it's genuinely madness when we saw that, because I've not seen anything to do with that. You think the CAA would have announced it if they were going to do it? And what was the consultation period? 5 minutes in a dark office?
I think we can say it hasn't happened, has it?
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, from an unknown source today, I got apparently there was a drone trial going on, and the drones were heard on the radio.
What do you mean, join overhead? Drones do not join overhead. We will be joining straight in. We will be flying an extremely long final. You will stay out of the way. Stay out of the way, or you will be exterminated. Exterminate, exterminate.
Well, sounds like we don't want to mess with them.
Yes. Let's move on. Move on very quickly.
Before we do finally move on, I realise there's a whole load of people watching this who may well have seen the CAA announcement, and I haven't seen it, or no one I know has seen it. So if you've seen that CAA announcement on geozones and mandatory equipage, could you let us know? Thank you very much. And CAA, what's going on? Come on, help us. Can you send us a press release, please?
Yes, there's various people asking for links and things. We'll put some links in the comments at the end of this, because everyone should, if you've got a view on this, then go along and make it known about this consultation. This is really important stuff.
Yes, if you look in the latest issue, all the links are actually there. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Right then.
What's next?
Right stuff.
The right stuff.
It's time for a guest.
It's time for a guest. What's happening here? This is weird.
Uh-oh. Have the drones taken over your desk?
No, I can see. Hang on a minute. I'm going to need to... I can't get to my guest.
Oh, no.
But do you want us to move on to the next item, Ian? Or,
yeah, I'm just going to have to temporarily remove Johnny for a second.
Harsh. You joined us last week.
This is mad. Okay.
Have we lost our guest?
No, our guest is here, but he's off the bottom of the screen, and my screen is not scrolling.
All right. Well, do you want to remove me to make space for him?
Well, remove Ed and myself.
Right, he's gone. Hopefully he'll come back in again. There he is. There he is. There he is. Clear of clouds. Hey, David, how are you doing?
I'm beginning to think I should treat Ian as a hostile interrogator.
Yeah. Just before you come and before you say anything, you've got nothing to do with drones at all, have you?
Well, now that you mention it,
no,
I have nothing to do with drones.
So, David, before we start your interrogation, perhaps you'd just like to quickly introduce yourself. Who are you? Where do you fly? What do you fly? How long have you been flying?
I Yeah, I'm basically flying in the west of Ireland. I'm just outside the Galway zone. I fly a 1941 Luscombe, which was exactly
Yes.
yes.
You can't boo a Luscombe.
Which was restored by a multiple restorer in Haverfordwest. And I basically spend my time on Twitter and Instagram talking aviation nonsense.
Like us then.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Pretending to know what I talk about. That's the difference.
Are you
Just
ready
like
for
us.
this? Excuse me. Are you ready? Are you ready for this, David?
No,
No.
obviously not.
Good. Okay, so quick fire quiz. High wing or low wing?
Oh, I fly a Luscombe, but I have to say low wing. I know. I'm on the back foot already.
Tail dragger or nose wheel?
Tail dragger? Has to be.
Okay, north up or track up?
You see now, the cards have been shown. Cards have been shown. Track up.
Okay, paper chart or tablet?
Both for legality.
Boo.
No, that's wrong. Excuse me. You don't actually need a paper chart for legality. You're okay with an electric one, so I'm going to put you paper anyway. Composite, aluminium or wood?
Don't make us get
Aluminium.
the campaign.
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
Aluminum.
Stick or yoke?
A stick.
Stick. Okay.
No question.
Glass or steam?
I was thinking about this in the car. I think I'm gonna have to say steam. I think.
Side by side or tandem?
Oh man.
Where's the buzzer?
That's hard. Tandem.
Grass or hard?
Oh, grass.
Breitling or Casio?
What?
That's a Hobson's choice. Neither.
No, it's a new one. Breitling or Casio? You have to pick one.
I refuse to pick Breitling on Casio.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just quickly add this up.
Can you get negative scores?
No, we didn't get negative scores, but you get. I'll check that later, but it's looking like a 75% are there. So,
That would just about pass an air law exam, would it?
just about pass a multiple guess theory exam. Yeah. So anyway.
In the comments, David Eads has given you a warning for being. He said, "This is hardly quickfire, is it?" Oh dear.
Yeah. I fly a Luscombe for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Okay. Fair
Next week, I'm going to have a timer that I'm going to introduce.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
This quiz needs work.
Okay. It's okay.
Anyway, it was lovely to have you on.
Yes.
Delighted to be here. I thought it was great to have an Irishman in the White House, but an Irishman on the Flyer live stream. Hello.
It doesn't get better than that, does it? Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thanks a million,
David.
Johnny, after that, I'm sure that everyone wants to know exactly how they could take part. Tell us, how can we take part?
Well, first of all, you need to be a member of the Flyer Club. And basically, the easiest thing to do is reply to any of the emails that we've ever sent you with interest, and you'll be put on the list.
Absolutely. Good.
And we'll make it clear you get put on the list, not for mass fame or fortune, but to actually take part in the Right Stuff quiz, which will have a time limit, which won't be a week.
And it will be quick fire next time.
Yes. Right. What's next? It must be time for Fantasy Hangar.
Time for Fantasy Hangar. Absolutely. Yeah.
Do it.
Fantasy Hangar. We try and take inspiration from things we've seen in the week, and the Savannah that was featured in Hay Bales 1, Aeroplane 0. The Savannah we have to pick our words carefully here, is a very functional aeroplane. You know, everyone picks their aeroplane for a reason. The Savannah's a bit functional, possibly not so beautiful. And we thought, what would be the functional aeroplane that you would pick because it does a purpose really, really well, but may not be a looker that you would put in your collection. So if you've got your fancy utility, you know, not maybe a looker aeroplane, stick it in the comments. Otherwise, who's first to go?
I don't know. I'm happy to go first on this one, if you like. But so I think I picked mine before we changed it to practical or something, because we had a long discussion and we decided that we weren't going to use the word ugly. Is that right? Because it wasn't very nice.
Yeah, we're not going to say ugly.
These
are functional aeroplanes.
These aeroplanes aren't at all ugly. They're functional. Just think about those two words. And so I chose this.
Oh,
it's functional because you can go and land places that you wouldn't land in many other airplanes, but it is completely and utterly functional. It's more functional than you can imagine with that nose. That nose wheel just makes it look so functional. Yeah.
To be fair, the NX Cub, if you can turn up and put a bag over your head when you get to the fly-in, I think owning an NX Cub is cool, and it does make backcountry flying accessible to everyone. You know, people who only fly nose wheel. Yeah. So I think that is very functional, Ian.
I think the trouble is you can only fly at night, can't you? Because you really can't let anyone see you fly.
Who's next?
Who's next?
Who's
Johnny.
next? Johnny.
Go on then. Right. So I've picked the Air Tractor AT802. Now, this basically, you're part of international rescue because you can put out fires, you can take out bad guys, you can improve crop yields or kill pests. It's got two seats.
Can you do them all at the same time?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there'll be a mod. And it's got a useful load of 4 tons.
Okay.
But it's still ugly. Very ugly.
Wow.
That is. I think you've definitely ticked the functional box with that.
It's not as functional as the X-Cub if we're using functional as a synonym for ugly.
Right.
Blimey. Who's next?
Dave.
It's me.
Right.
Dave.
Well, it was easy for me. Well, it was. Initially, I thought there was something called the Ag Truck, which is a farming aeroplane, which I quite like because it's just bonkers looking. But then I was thinking about it, and you know what? We all need a van at some time, so I picked the Short Sky Van. Look at that! And it's designed with a set square. The nice thing is, it's like you turn up, it's the party bus. You got space for 19 people. The thing is, given that it's shaped like a brick, it's actually surprisingly fast. It cruises at 175 knots, apparently, which is bonkers.
No, I don't believe that.
Well, I'm reading Wikipedia, and everything on Wikipedia is true. So this must be so. But I thought, Short Sky Van. I can drop the ramp. I like a bit of photography, so that's a great photography platform. You can go camping in it, and I know Ian's rolling his eyes at the thought of going camping, but how cool is that? So anyway, that's my functional choice.
In that window on the side. Is there a face in that window on the side?
There is a face in that window. You think they'd be hiding, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah. I would.
Right, so that can only leave Dave.
Yes. So I've chosen a wonderful aeroplane called a Steeper Caprioni. There's a bit of his. Yeah. Now I have to admit this picture actually shows a replica. It's a 3/5 size replica built in Australia about 20 years ago. The real thing is obviously bigger than this, but it looks pretty much the same. Built in 1932 originally, and an Italian engineer called Luigi Steeper created it. And he wanted, the reason it's functional is because the propeller is contained within the fuselage, so you get this Venturi effect going through, and apparently it prompted, helped along the idea of jet propulsion. So I'm grasping at straws are functional, but I think I've won the ugly stakes.
It's got a spare. No, it's not ugly. It's not ugly. But I see yours has got a spare seat, Dave, so that two people can enjoy that.
That's right. And in fact, in a couple of other pictures I've seen of it, there was somebody sitting in that front seat.
Wow.
They did have their hands like this.
So I'm just looking in the comments for your suggestions. So we've got Islander. Paul Fraser Benison says Stinson Trimotor. Paul, that's almost a pretty aeroplane. What are you doing?
Pete Pengelly, PC6.
PC6, yeah. Roger Breckles with me on the Skyvan. What else we got? Turbo Porter comes up a lot. AN2 came up in biplane, didn't it? Yeah, it was Ian's choice. PZL Wilger says Kia Williams. Helio Courier says Ricardo. Pete Jeffcoat says Desford. And I think a lot of people will be going, what?
What?
But, what else? Turbo Porter again. Melanie Moxon says Johnny wins. Looks like his can be used to knock out drones. We don't condone shooting down drones. That's not allowed.
No.
Someone says Twin Pioneer. It's clearly someone should have picked Turbo Porter because that gets a lot of votes.
I nearly picked.
Chris Cooper says 182. How do you feel about that, Ian?
That's ridiculous. I came close to picking the Constellation because that is
No.
that is the nose wheel on that is just ridiculous. It makes it look completely and utterly ugly. It's a deformed airplane that's had the fuselage put on upside down. It looks ridiculous. It's one of those King's new clothes thing. Everyone goes, "Oh my god, look at this Lockheed Constellation! It's lovely." No, it's but ugly.
It's great.
Okay.
No,
well, I'm going to take. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's had a victory there. So I'll call myself the winner.
Hands up! Hands up! Who would like to fly the functional X-Cub?
Well, I quite like it actually.
I do like it. I have to say though, I think Johnny is with his multi-tool aeroplane.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife of.
He's got the aircraft, I suppose.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Right then. Oh, well, Jeremy Winder, he says Johnny wins. So there we go.
Yeah, Jeremy's always right.
There we go. What's next? Is it non-events? Non-events.
Yes. So remember a week ago I told you about an event that was going to be happening at the end of March. This is the HAI Helicopter Heli Expo. It was supposed to be going ahead a week ago. Today they cancelled it for all the right reasons. You know, there's COVID rampant throughout the States at the moment, and it doesn't seem very sensible going ahead. Anyway, they've cancelled it. And Aero Friedrichshafen, which was going to be going ahead in April, is now being pushed back to July. You could say it's going to clash with Oshkosh, but maybe there's not going to be an Oshkosh. So anyway, so
it's a big gamble. It's 14th to the 17th, isn't it? And
that's right. Yeah. It's a big change for them because normally they run it obviously in the spring when all the guest houses are just waking up after winter and there's not really anything to compete. In midsummer, that area, if it's open and available for people to go on holiday, will be busy. So it's an unusual, it's a big decision.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the events, I think.
Is that it? No more events?
That's it. Yes, Hamish has appeared in the comments, and with no malice, we're saying here: is it coincidence that the head of drones is now also head of GA? Dum dum dum.
Dum, dum,
I don't know about coincidence, but I think we need a video. I think we should have the head of GA unit on here as a guest.
Yeah, we'd like you to come on the Flyer Right Stuff quiz.
Yeah, come and take the Flyer Right Stuff quiz and come and join us. Talking of which, shall I do? Can I do this or not? No.
What's he got?
No, I was just going to work out. I was going to check the score, but I think I'm right anyway. 75%. I'll check it. And, put it on the thing later. What else have we got?
It must be Johnny on the Flyer Club.
Yeah, must be Johnny on the Flyer Club. Johnny.
Yeah, so a new magazine came out this week, March's edition, which features landing vouchers for Oaksey Park, Goodwood, Brayton, Fishburn, Shipdham, and Leicester. Now that's over £60 worth of free landing vouchers for just £2.50 for your monthly subscription. So join the Flyer Club and you can benefit from free landings at all those great places, including somewhere like Goodwood that I've never been to, and I'm sure many of you haven't and would love the opportunity to. So go for it.
And let's, as we've been saying, it's hopefully the restrictions. Who knows? Restrictions may be leveling off a little bit, but we'll just have to wait and see. But remember, Flyer, home of free landings.
Home of free landings, absolutely. And if you're not a member of the club already, then please join. We kind of need you to join. It's how it works. And it's only £2.50 a month, £7.50 a quarter, payable in advance, which is a pretty good value. So thank you very much for joining. If you're watching this on YouTube, do us a favour and subscribe. Give us a like. Leave some stuff in the comments. If you're on Facebook, leave some stuff in the comments. What else have we got to say? Have we got anything else to say, or are we drawing this one to a close? Other than obviously, we'd love to see you again next week.
Well, just remember, there's a brand new issue out.
Yes, brand new. Yeah, good reminder. Catch up on all this drone stuff. So check out the March issue of Flyer. It's free. Just go to flyer.co.uk and follow the links. So there's our March of the Drones feature, Ian flight test the Texas Cub. There's a brilliant flying adventure, Piper Cub in the Pyrenees. I test some tire pressure sensors, all the columns, all the news, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So read it, because you can't fly at the moment. So sit down.
Fly vicariously. That could be a new cover line, couldn't it? Fly vicariously. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. It's been great. We look forward to seeing you next week. It's a highlight of our week, this little Thursday 45 minutes, which kind of crept on a bit from half an hour. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ed, Dave, and Johnny. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Take care, everyone. See you next week.
Bye-bye.